David Diehl, two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants, joins us here on set here in Houston. Did you ever think Canty would be a radio star, David?
Yeah, actually I did. Canty's a smart guy. He's a smart, tough player, and he was a guy that you knew was always prepared. He knew assignments. He knew the defenses, not just the defensive line, but linebackers and where the corners and safeties were. He was a smart player, and he used it to his advantage. So it's no surprise that he's where he's at.
Now, you have both Super Bowl rings on. Do you always wear two, or because you're around here now?
Just during Super Bowl week, I usually wear them. Usually I wear one during the broadcast, but when you're here, this is the time.
So people
this is the time where you actually can wear them and show them off.
Yeah. How much do you remember those times? I mean, do you cherish them?
Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable, coming here and talking about playing up against the Patriots, so it brings back a lot of memories. And just to be able to share my experiences of what it was like playing in those games, preparing for them, and the atmosphere that's there, because that's something that not a lot of people talk about is actual game day is so much more distracting, I should say, than a regular season game or a postseason game. You go out there for your pregame warm-up. You're used to coming back in, having about 15 minutes with the coach. It's a half an hour, so you can't pace yourself or peak too early where you're sweating out there for the pregame and then come flying out there, because then what else? You have the national anthem. You've got another 20 minutes. At halftime, you come back in, usually the same thing, around 14, 15 minutes. It's a half an hour that you're just sitting around. Guys are taking their shoulder pads off.
The biggest game of your life, you're doing something different.
Yeah, so coaches are making sure that you're monitored, that they're you're getting back to the game plan, so that when you come back out there, you start fast. And I'll never forget Super Bowl 42. I'm walking in to the bathroom at halftime. I'm going to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I'm singing Free Fallin', and I'm like, wait, why? I can hear Tom Petty playing, and I can hear it in the back. I'm like, okay, I'm really at the Super Bowl now.
Tom Brady was free falling during the game.
So that's why the games have because one thing I've always said I hate about the Super Bowl, I think it's until the last few years when it's gotten very good, it was generally my whole life, the pace was weird. It never felt like a football game. It had a weird feeling. Is it because everything's different and everyone's just off?
And you think about every time that a defense makes a play or there's a punt and you're about to get the football, you want to build on that momentum. Sure enough, you run out there, TV timeout. So it's tough to really build on that momentum that usually during a regular season game or a postseason game that allows you to really feed off of that energy.
But what's amazing is that you're in 42. You're all there for the first time, except, Strahan once before back in the Super Bowl
and
35.
Toomer. And that's it.
Yeah, and then you have, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, who had been there a bunch of times. So you really had to overcome. That was a major hurdle because they had been there, done that, and you were going through it for the first time.
Yeah, I will never forget Super Bowl 42, the 2 weeks before. Michael Strahan standing up in front of our team and talking about losing in 2000. I mean, you could see his face drop, just the anger that he still had 7 years later from losing that game and not knowing if he'd have that opportunity again. So for him to get up and talk to us as a team, talk about the feelings of sitting on that still to that day and not getting back until 07, it really set us apart in our preparation those 2 weeks, knowing that if we took care of business in New Jersey and in New York, getting ourselves with the game plan, getting the preparation going, and making sure that when we got to Arizona that it was a business trip, that the Super Bowl, all the parties, all that stuff's great for your family. But if you truly want to enjoy something, win a Super Bowl and come back to New York City.
Now, I want to tell you this. You might not know this. I don't think you do. So it means a lot to the players, but I was at that Super Bowl with Don, and after the game, he started crying.
Yeah.
So that's the effect you have on fans.
I'll never forget after the game going through that first one, 42, and seeing my mom cry.
Right.
And I mean, those are the things that mean the most to you, because my mom was running me around, driving me to practice, doing all those things, and when you win a Super Bowl, it's not just you. It's your family. It's your teammates' family. And when you get back to the hotel and everybody's there, it's just pure joy. And it's just great to be able to share that experience with your loved ones.
All right, so break it down. What do you think Sunday?
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a game that I don't think is going to be as high scoring as people think. I think it's going to be in the 20s. But, I mean, it's tough to go up against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I give Dan Quinn and this team a lot of credit. I've had Fox games for the Atlanta Falcons, so I've watched their entire season. I've seen each and every play that they've had this year, and don't get me wrong, it is impressive the way that they've jumped from last year to this year. You've seen the way that they've improved the team speed on defenses. 2 linebackers that are rookies. You have Keanu Neal. They wanted to make sure they changed that. But when you think about this game and you think about the defense that the Seattle Seahawks had, and they couldn't beat Tom Brady. I mean, we're talking about all pros at every single level. When that team couldn't do that, it's going to be very difficult for this defense to be able to hold up, because what do? They get you to think and not react, and that split second you think, that's where you're going to cause a mistake, and it's going to be right into the favor of the Patriots.
Yeah, you said you watched a lot of their games this year, and I look at their defense that statistically wasn't great in the regular season.
No.
But are how much of their sacks and pressure come from the fact that they can pin their ears back because they're going up against an offense that's down 17 points in the fourth quarter?
That's going to be huge for the Atlanta Falcons, is that they strike first on the opening drive like they have, to give this defense that ability to play the run on the way to the quarterback, because that's their way to play free, and they can just run around and fly and swarm to the football. The biggest guys that are going to be very important, everybody talks about Dwight Freeney and Vic Beasley Jr. on the outside. Grady Jackson and Rashid Hageman, these guys got to press the pocket. They got to make
That's
sure
what you guys did.
They have to. Jay Alford, all of those guys, Barry Cofield, they were able to get that pressure at Tom Brady's feet where he was uncomfortable. He couldn't step up into the throws. And what did he start doing? He started backing up right into the lanes of Osi Umenyiora and Michael Strahan.
Right.
So it's going to be huge that they do that and they get that pressure down the bow.